So this is the first step for me creating the first of the next 4 pieces that I'm going to be doing in this series. I have had this piece of fabric for quite a long time. This is wool, a wool tartan, and it's this beautiful aubergine color, I would say. I mean, it's got a lot of variation depending on the angle you're looking at it and the light, but this is going to be the base for this piece, which is going to feature Virginia Woolf in it. And this piece is based on a portion of A Room of One's Own. Not the most often quoted portion as far as I can tell, but the portion that really struck me when I was reading it. Hi everybody, just checking in today. Today is May 14th, and I am still working on what I'm tentatively calling the Virginia Woolf piece, but it's actually going to be called something else. I'm not sure yet what that will be. And I just wanted to talk about the fact that I'm struggling a bit with making work right now. I am having a hard time settling into a rhythm, and I know this happens to everybody. All creative people go through kind of, I don't think it's a block. I think it's just a lack of motivation and time, a lack of an ability to really dig into something and stay there and feel consistently productive. So I'm struggling a bit with that, and I know that when I get this piece to a certain level, it's going to start to have a better rhythm and a better hum to it, that I'll be able to consistently work on it. It won't be such a struggle to start and stop each time I have to. But yeah, it's been dragging me down a bit with the work. So, and I have a billion other things I could be working on, like most people. There's always something else to do. There's always some other thing I could be working on, and but I really am trying to not let myself procrastinate about this and just push through this feeling and make it happen. So that's what I'm doing right now, and it's happening slowly. And this is the tough part, this is the digging in and working even when you don't feel that motivated, and even when there's just this lack of devotion. And I also think that my studio is bringing me down, because it's a mess. It's a total mess. I think I took a shot of it the other day, but things are just everywhere. I need to take some time and sort and just clean the space, and then let that kind of lift my spirits in my head. So I'm gonna do that right now, I think, and I'll check in a bit. Hi everybody. I am making progress on my Virginia Woolf piece, and I will talk you through that a little bit later in the video. The other thing I'm going to do is talk you through the 2 pieces in this new series that I've already completed. So they weren't made with the intention of being included in this series, but when I started thinking about the series, I realized that they fit in really, really well. So I'm going to, just talk to you about them and the inspiration for them, and why they're part of this new series that I'm working on. I also realized that we're getting near the end of May, so we're getting to the halfway point of the year in June, and I think I will be making a June video that revisits my goals that I set at the beginning of the year, which, to be honest, I don't even really remember what was in there. And I'll look at those goals and give you an update on how I'm doing on them. I don't feel like the beginning of, like, the first, almost 6 months of the year have been super productive artistically. Certainly not as productive as I was hoping, but I'm just gonna have to accept that that's how it's been. And I am working away on this piece, and I'm very close now to getting it to a stage where I can start working on one of the other two pieces that I've already decided are going to be in this series, because as I said before, the plan right now is to apply for a residency in November, and I want to have those three pieces at a good stage so that I can photograph them and submit them and say these are the pieces that I'm going to be finishing during the residency. An artist residency is, there's many different versions of it, but in my case, the one I'm applying to, it's an arts center. They have an art gallery, they have a museum, they have space for workshops, and it is a little hub in a little town. And they have, I think, 3 or 4 artists per year who come to the workspace, the studio space that is in the Arts Center, and set their work up there and work out of that space for a set amount of time, usually about 3 months. And during that time, they have their studio open for people to come in and talk to you about the work and look at what you're doing and interact with an artist, basically. And then I believe they also have an opportunity for artists to give workshops for the general public who attend the Arts Center. And they also offer the artist a show in the gallery. And so I have my neighbor, actually, my neighbor Dorothy. I've talked about her before. She's kind of my art buddy, and we go on art adventures together. She did this residency last year, and she had a very positive experience. And I feel the benefit of this artist residency is that it is within driving distance of my home. It's not a live-in residency where you travel to somewhere and you set up in a studio and you work for a few weeks or a few months and live there. It's one where you live at home and you just drive to the residency. So that's, right now at this stage in my life, I can't imagine going on to a residency and leaving my kids for 2 or 3 months. It's just not possible. And I also have my job, which I can't leave for 2 or 3 months. So to do a residency like this is probably my best bet. So I'm going to be applying for that. I don't know if I'll get it. You know, a lot of people apply for these things, so you know, it's no guarantee. But it is a nice goal. It's kind of a deadline, a loose deadline for myself, where I know that I want to have the pieces to a certain spot before I apply. And it just gives me a date to aim for, because sometimes if I don't have a date to aim for, I meander too much and things just don't get done in a reasonable amount of time. So there are a few things that could come up that could derail this plan, but right now this is my plan. And I think it may have been one of my goals at the beginning of the year, but I can't, as I said, I can't really remember that, so I'm gonna have to rewatch the video and see what I wrote, what I said. So I think that's it for now. I'll talk to you again soon.
So, like, as I just said by Robin Talley, I would have liked this book so much more if the characters weren't already together at the jump of the book. Same with We Are Okay. Everyone loves this book, and I think this is a great, important, wonderful book. But
Hey everybody. Okay, so I wanted to just talk you through the 2 pieces that I've already finished for the series that I'm working on right now. And this one is the first one that I did, and I did this back in 2015. It was a huge departure for me in terms of color scheme. You can see it's got the indigos, a lot of the bright colors, and it's kind of an odd shape. So you see here, these are kind of these flower shapes and with embroidery and paint. And then this is kind of an orb that's floating in space. Oops, I'm gonna go back out. There we go. And you'll also see lots of cottonwood floating around. All those little white things floating in the air is cottonwood. So that's why those are in the shot as well. I'm doing this outside on my deck just so that you get like a really good amount of light on the piece, so it's easier to see. So this piece was inspired by a drawing that I did during a pretty emotional time. It was when my husband's grandmother was very ill, and she was kind of in and out of consciousness, and this image came to me of where I thought she was. So she was kind of this orb floating in space, and she wasn't fully conscious with us, and she wasn't gone away from us. She was just in this, I always come back to the word liminal space. And so this piece is called Beryl, and it was really my first exploration into that idea of liminal space and what those places are, and where you're suspended but you're moving but you're not moving, and you're here but you're not really here. So that was kind of the first order, the first incarnation of this idea. Okay, so this is the second piece that I completed, and this one I believe I completed in 2017. Let me check the date on here. 2017. So this piece is called Look In, Reach Out, and it was inspired by a call at one of my former bosses. She runs a gallery, and they were doing a group show, and it was about friendship was the theme. So an object that is very prevalent in my work, or sorry, a symbol that's very prevalent so far, is the labyrinth. And I was really interested in playing with that shape and then bringing in the blossoming branch. And again, you can see that I'm using, it's very, very colorful, and it's got the yellow and violet and some blues in here. And at the time I was making it, I didn't even think about the fact that it connected and would look nice hanging with Beryl. I was just thinking about the theme, and these were the colors that came up for me when I was thinking about the theme. And the reason that I feel this speaks of friendship is because of, you can see that through the title as well, Look In. So the labyrinth is meant to represent looking inward and understanding who you are as a person, and then the branches are meant to symbolize reaching out. So when you're a friend with someone, you have to reflect on who you are while you are reaching out and connecting with someone else, and that makes the relationship much more enriching if you're both able to go within, understand who you are, and then reach out and connect to other people. And I also consider friendship to be liminal in a lot of ways. There's often a lot of limbo in friendship, there's often a lot of conflict, there's also a lot of intimate connection, and so in all that emotional turmoil that can come with such things, you are experiencing this kind of in-between space where you have to kind of exist in that space in order to have an enriching friendship with someone. So that is piece number 2 in this series. Okay, so piece number 3 so far. This is where we are, or where I am, on my Virginia Woolf piece as of today. So today is Monday, May 27th, I think. So I've shown you various stages, and this is where I am right now. I am working mostly on the background, so you see I've got the house put together. It's got a pink and you know, sunset kind of coloring to it. I've also got these bushes put on, just the base layer, and then I've got the sunset sky, dusk sky here. And I've just finished this morning the first layer of bluebells. So this is going to be the most furthest back bluebells, and then there's going to be more bluebells that'll come up into the foreground here, so they'll be a different color and a bit larger. And then along this angle here that angles down towards the fence, there's going to be daffodils. So these are all specific references to the quote from A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. And this is just a piece of tape here, which is marking a spot. There's going to be, the figure of Virginia Woolf will be in this spot here, right in front. So this is when you're constructing a piece out of fabric and you've got so many layers and you've got so much embroidery that you have to do. You really have to plan it out and do it in stages. So this is a stage that I am at as of the end of May 2019. And you can see the colors really echo the colors in the first two pieces I showed you. So you've got indigos, purples, rose, greens, blues. You know, this is kind of the color palette that's coming out with these pieces as it goes. So I will continue working on this. I need to get it, I'd like to have it almost ready for quilting stage by the time I apply for the residency in November, and I think that's totally possible. It's things like this, when you're putting on embroidered lines like this, can get very tedious, and I'm going to be doing little French knots all along all of these flowers, so that is going to be actually really tedious as well. So these have to be done in stages, so it's better to do a little bit and then take a break and move on to something else. So I hope you enjoyed looking through the work that I've developed so far for this series. I think I've mentioned that right now I have 5 pieces, well, 3 more pieces that are in progress and being made to go towards this series, and I'd like to finish it off at 6. Unless, of course, somehow there's some sort of other inspiration that comes along where I feel like I need to make a 7th piece, but I think 6 will be plenty for this little series. Thanks so much for watching and following along. I'm still finding my feet when it comes to making studio vlogs and trying to figure out the best way to show you the steps of making a quilt. It is a much longer process than a lot of other art vloggers share, but I am really happy that you're following along, and all the information about where to find my work and follow it online is in the description box down below, and I will be back again with another art vlog to share with you.